Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Extinguisher 10, and today we're doing a tutorial on how to scout and draft players in Madden 20. So to start with, scouting begins in week 3, and here we are in the screen. We have 175 points, and what you want to do let's use the Dolphins for an example. That's the team we're using right now, and they need basically an entire offensive line, and let's see here, what else? Basically everybody they need everybody. So ideally, your team will have some strengths and you'll have some weaknesses, and you'll be able to focus on the weaknesses for who you're scouting. In this case, we're using the Dolphins, so the entire team needs overhauled. So we'll just kind of do a little bit of every position. So in this case, you want to just start in one position at a time. And wow, everyone looks pretty all close together. And we ran out of points. So we'll advance to the next week. And as you can see, only half of the points carried over because we had 10 and we get 175 each week. So whatever you don't use, it gets cut in half, but carried over. So continuing on, we'll just go through the first round and then kind of analyze how we're looking so far. So we've scouted every player in the first round, or at least projected to go in the first round. And it looks like it's all pretty even. Obviously, you want to go with A's over B's, B's over C's, C's over D's. What we've scouted is each player's highest skilled trait. And just starting with number 1 overall here, he's got this A-. As we go, we throw 10 points into this. His second highest trait is A-. And now his third highest trait is B+. Just blindly looking at any position, those are good numbers. So he's a speed rusher though. Ideally, your number 1 trait is going to be finesse moves, followed up by tackling and block shedding. So we've led off here with tackle, which is a good one. That is not a bad one to have as your number 1 trait. Hit power, high hit power is great, but it's not the most valuable thing you can have. Pursuit in a defensive lineman it's a nice thing to have, just like hit power, but it is not that important. So while he has some pretty good numbers across the board, we don't see block shedding and we don't see finesse moves. So he's interesting. If his combine is insane, you might consider taking him pretty high, but he's not blowing me away with this. Linebackers, on the other hand, he's got number 1 is tackle. That is great. And he's a run stopper, so it fits with the scheme. And here's another good one. And this is kind of where we have to talk about, are you going to be usering this player? Because high play recognition doesn't matter if you're going to be using the player. But if it's someone you're not going to be using, high play rec is important. And next one, wow, A- across the board. Pursuit, there again, if you're using this person, it doesn't matter. But if you're not, this guy has some great numbers for a run stopper. So it's all about context. If you're doing rebuild, it looks great. If you're going to be using someone else, it looks great. If you're going to be using him, he still could have great numbers, but you only know the top 3. So take it all with a grain of salt and combine it all based off of what you need. So here, looking at another run-stopping middle linebacker, B+, that's not as encouraging, but if we see another B+, he could be still okay. And another B+, so he has hit power number 1, which is, it's great, but it's not ideal. Tackle number 2, that's good. Pursuit, great if you're not going to be using him. And so dropping down here to the number 4 pick, this left end, he's a run stopper. So his skill set is going to be different than, say, a power rusher or a speed rusher. And his number 1 trait is hit power. So just based off of that, you could actually potentially just skip him and say, I don't want to bother with it. He could still have 2 fantastic A- traits behind it, the 2 that you want the most, and he could be pretty good. But the odds of getting that after having something not perfectly ideal, number 1, would make you think about skipping it. But I'm curious to see what he looks like, so we're going to do it anyway. And B+ tackle, that's pretty good. And B pursuit, that is just not really what I'm looking for in a defensive lineman. So personally, I would probably skip on this guy. Run stopping defensive tackle, same kind of principles, and really you're looking for block shedding, which is number 1 here, followed up by probably power moves, and of course tackling. Tackling's never bad to have in really any position, and we have tackle. So far looking great. And pursuit, not ideal, but he's still looking pretty good. So I'm going to skip over this guy because we just did 3 run stoppers in a row. Let's look at wide receiver. So this guy's starting with medium route running, and you already know he's a deep threat. So his deep route running, his spectacular catch, those should already be pretty high. B- short, also kind of encouraging because you know that deep is going to be pretty good. And B+ catching. So he looks, receivers really depend a lot on the combine and their skill sets. So deep threat, I would check out his combine and then see how it does. You want some A's in there, especially for projected seventh overall pick. But it's still not bad. If his combine numbers are insane, it's definitely worth looking at. Now down here at our cornerback, as we can see, he's a man-to-man coverage guy, and his number one skill is a B+ man. That's great. Let's keep going. B- awareness, that's good. And B- catching. This guy, with the right combine, it will be a very good player. Now, some guys you'll see some zone in there, some press, and a lot of that depends on the kind of scheme you run, so you have to factor all of that in once again. But based off of this, he looks decent so far. Down to another deep threat with B+ catching. Let's check him out. B+ release, that's good. Oh yeah, you'll see some decent releases for the deep threats too. And B+ deep threat. So kind of everything you would expect. You'll probably have good spectacular catch. You'll probably have decent medium route running. So B+ is across the board. Worth continuing to look at once we get the scouting report on the combine. With this physical receiver, and physical receivers in general, you're going to see high release and high catch in traffic. So let's check out this guy. We're finally starting off with something a little better, an A-, and another A- catch in traffic. That's what we were looking for, and spectacular catch. So this guy's pretty much your stereotypical physical receiver, and he's got good numbers across the board. Definitely worth looking at once the combine numbers come out. Down here, looking at another man coverage corner, he's got B awareness, which isn't incredibly encouraging. I mean, awareness is good, especially if you don't user the corner. Ideally, I'm going to see man, followed up by either zone or catching, and straight B's across. B press, okay, so if you run a lot of press, that's not a bad thing. And B man, so he looks pretty good. And as a matter of fact, he actually has a higher floor than our guy up here. So you have B+, B-, B- versus B, B, and B. So yeah, his man coverage is better, but everything behind it is potentially higher on the guy down here versus the one up here. There could be 3 more B's behind this, whereas you know there's no way that is even possible up here. At best, it's going to be a B-. So you have to factor that in. This guy has a much higher ceiling, and man coverage is probably the most important one to have. But this guy has a higher floor. And moving down to this power rushing defensive tackle, he has the number one thing I would want out of a power rushing, really anything, and his power moves number 1. B+, decent. Play recognition at a B. I'm not out on him, but I'm not happy about it. I want to see block shedding. B- block shedding. Unfortunately, he dropped off too quick. Yeah, I want to see block shedding, but he went B+, which is good, B, and then B-. The floor is too low, and that play recognition kind of kills you a little bit. And actually, as you can see right there, we have our first, I guess it would be a bust according to Madden. Oh, that is another thing. So when you get the little green diamond, that means that pretty much no matter what, if you take this guy in the round that it says that he's good for, so in all of these guys so far up until this last one, it says a first round pick, that means it won't be a bad player within that round. Now down here with this red diamond, you absolutely don't want to take him in the first round, and I probably wouldn't take him at all because it is guaranteed he's going to have normal development, whereas these guys all have potential for a higher development, which is very important when progressing your players. So down here we're looking at another power rusher, this time a left end. Doesn't really matter, but B+ tackle, not perfect, but definitely good. Hit power at B-, I'm out. We know B- is going to be the next one. No matter what it is, it's not going to be worth it. So we're going to save the 5 points, put it towards something else. Speed rusher, B tackle, I'm not even going to bother. If the combine comes out and he is just the best physical athlete in the entire draft, I might go, okay, let's throw 10 points at him and see if the numbers behind him are ideal. Because if he's B's across the board, it could still be potentially a good pick, but it has to be B's across the board, 2 ideal things, finesse moves and block shedding. But it's not worth the risk at this point. The ceiling is already pretty low. So down here in Elusive back, running backs are kind of a little tricky deal. You have so many different factors. You have elusive backs, you have receiving backs, you have power backs, but there's so many different ways. They have ball carrier vision, they have awareness, they have carrying, they have spin moves, they have trucking, they have stiff arm. So many potential things that it can be. So they're a little tougher to scout, and they're highly, highly based off the combine. So scouting early might not be ideal unless you know you definitely need a running back. But he's an elusive back with B+ spin moves. I'm a little iffy on him so far, because in a first rounder, I want to see this thing start with an A. But we'll give it a chance. B+ elusiveness. So that's definitely something we want to see. And B carrying, well, and this even tells you right here, it says he's a second round pick. Don't bother. I was kind of iffy on him before. Probably should have saved the points, but I wanted to check him out as their first running back. Another man-to-man guy. We're going to skip him just because we've gone over him. This man-to-man, just like the speed rusher before, starting with a B-. Cornerbacks might be what you can start with the lowest high skill grade, meaning his high is B-. So if he was B- across the board, he still might be worth looking at if he was fast enough. But dropping down here to quarterback, we're looking at a gentleman with A throw power. And all of these skills are based off of the group around them. So if everybody is bad, you can still be an A and still be bad. But you don't know who's good. So that was kind of useless information for you to an extent. But A, that's good but not ideal. You want A+ whenever you can. You really don't want to drop down as far as B+. A- you can kind of work with. B+, boy, he better be super accurate and super fast to even be remotely worth it. So this guy's worth looking at. And he's a strong arm quarterback, so it's kind of A- to mid, that's good. Hoping for, oh, and he dropped off. You do not want to go that low. It's projecting him as a 4th rounder. That floor dropped right out from underneath us. We need at least A's across the board, maybe a B+, maybe. But in the first round, you really need just A's across the board of some sort, even if it ends on an A-. Looking at this pass protecting left guard, he's got high impact block, and really, we can get into the specifics, but this is supposed to be kind of more of a general tutorial. I will go deeper into how to draft linemen and really each position group in another video. But in this one, we're just kind of going generic. You want as high as possible, as long as possible. So B+, that's okay. We can stick with it as long as it's still B+. B+, he looks good. They agree. He's a projected first-round talent. And after that, once we get into the combine, we'll show you all this stuff. The most important thing, especially with anyone who has power, so like this guy down here, power, you want strength, but with the most important thing with your combine score. So moving down to our power rusher linebacker, he has B+ pursuit, which is okay. Not ideal for the number 1, but we'll check it out. B power moves, I'm almost out on him. I'm going to check it out anyway. Probably going to regret it. But if he has just the right thing, it might be worth it. And B, play recognition, not what we were looking for. Especially if he was a coverage guy, that would be more important. But he doesn't have block shedding is that next one. He doesn't have tackle. He's probably not going to be a bad player, but you don't want to take him in this first round. Back with another elusive back. Let's try it again. He's starting off with elusiveness. A- ball carrier vision. This is one thing where ball carrier vision is going to mean absolutely nothing if you're going to be usering this player. But if this is going to be like, say, a rebuild where you're simulating everything, this is important. So an important factor to know. And B+ stiff arm. That's pretty good for an elusive back, but it's kind of scary. As you can see, the computer did not like that. It's kind of intriguing seeing that stiff arm in there with an elusive back, but that just kind of means everything's a little muddled up. This power left guard, he's starting with A- run block, A- impact block, and B+ pass block power. So he's also looking pretty good. With these offensive linemen, I kind of want to have it A's across the board if you're going to take him in the first round. This guy looks fantastic in, say, well, really any round after that. So any of these guys that end with a B+, I want to see an absolutely phenomenal combine score to actually make it worth it. Man-to-man corner here, got B press, interesting, we'll see. High press is more common to see in man-to-man corners. B- man coverage. Okay, so this is a case where I would say probably pass on him. Unless he looks like the most physically gifted corner in this game, once in a generation, physically anyway, cornerback. Unless he looks like that, I would pass on him. And down here for a pass blocking center, number 1, A- pass block, and pass block finesse, A-, I'm still in. And B+ impact block, still not bad. I want someone who's, like I've said time and time again, someone physical. Agile, you're gonna see a lot less power, more finesse. Let's see what we have. Leap block, B+, I'm not sure. Gotta see, oh, I'm done. Not a chance. B-, I might take this guy in the 6th round. Not gonna happen. Now, receiving back, this guy, A- carrying, decent. B+ break tackle, I like it so far. B+ juke, looks like a good receiving back. And down to a B for man-to-man coverage, I like it. B- press, I'm not so into it. Check it out, but B- awareness. So the floor stayed up there. I don't like that the number 2 is B-, but the number 1 stat, if it's, say, a man guy being man or zone guy being zone, if the number 1 is good, then it still might be worth it. This guy, worth looking into later. Pass coverage linebacker. As you can see, this guy has B+ tackle. That's not too uncommon. You should also see high awareness, play rec, pursuit, and zone as potential things you'll see. So let's see what we have here. B- pursuit, I'm done. Yeah, pursuit is good, but not at B- for the number 2. Cornerback, it doesn't matter what it is. You're first rounder, and your number 1 stat is C+, I'm out. Power rusher, B+ power moves to start off with, I'm in. B block shedding, interested. B-, if it was a B tackle, then it'd probably still be up there, but as you can see, they agree 2nd rounder. Not gonna be a bad player, but not worth it in this round. Power rusher with B+ hit power, I don't know, we'll see. Stay B+, nope, I'm out. Speed rusher, starting off with B+ finesse moves, fantastic. B+ tackle, great. And B play recognition. That's not what I was hoping for. I would really like to see block shedding, but he's still, I mean, he could be, the next one could be block shedding, you never know, but he's looking good based off these stats. The top 2 are probably, I would prefer tackle to be number 3 and block shedding to be number 2, but it's an almost ideal top 3. So I'm going to skip down, look at someone else. Hybrid, there we go, we haven't looked at safeties yet. In fact, we're in the 2nd round. Let's see here, B+ hit power, interesting. Hybrid guys, you're going to see some hit power, man, zone, tackling, just about anything. Just like the name says, it's hybrid. You're not a coverage guy, but you're not an in-the-box guy. You're an in-betweener. B-, I don't think so. And the thing with safeties, they drop off pretty quick, so he actually could potentially be an okay player, but he dropped off so quick. He would absolutely have to have some super idealistic statistic at a B- for the 3rd one, and a great combine for him to be worth taking in the 2nd round. At quarterback, another strong arm guy. A, not bad. B+, I don't think so. I think I should stop, but I'm going to look at it anyway. If it's B+, like say deep, he might be worth a 2nd round pick. And yep, B, short. It's just not worth it. Let's look at a scrambling quarterback. He's probably not going to have the highest throw power. Hey, he's got A-. I'm still in. Yeah, it's short, but that's kind of to be expected. You normally don't see deep on someone like that. And B+, it just dropped off too quick. Let's look at another safety, see if we can get a decent one. Hit power, B+, that's okay. Pursuit at B, I'm in. And C+ awareness, he looks all right. If he's going to be someone you're using, the pursuit and the awareness is not encouraging at all. You'd rather see tackle in there for sure. But if you're not using him, those are decent numbers. For a 2nd rounder, he could potentially be a decent pick. Finally, a zone quarterback. Let's see what this guy looks like. B-, This is in the second round, so we gotta lower expectations a little bit. So B- zone, C+ man. I mean, I love seeing both man and zone in the top 3, but it's dropping too quick. This has to be C+, something really important like catching, or, well, it's not gonna value catching as much as I am, but awareness or play rec. Well, Preston likes it. Okay. So maybe he's still pretty good clear across the board, and he has good combine numbers. So he's worth at least taking a look at. Let's look at another quarterback. Scrambler, A-, not ideal, but workable. A- again. Come on, give me one more A-, and a B. Can't do it. Just can't do it. Here we go, a zone safety. So he's starting off with B hit power. Not ideal, but if it's B's across the board, we're good. B- pursuit, okay. C+, it just dropped off too much. Just can't do it. So dropping down, let's see, field general. So these guys are going to be more about the passing accuracy than the throw power, but they still should have decent throw power. And A-, kind of expected. A-, you better have another A- and a medium at least. And it dropped off just too much. So we have an A right here. A-, throw on the run. Okay, improviser, that makes sense. I don't know. I'm gonna throw the points at it anyway, and it stayed up. Everybody above here has a lower floor. This guy has the highest floor, and well, and it's saying second round pick. Everyone else, 5th, 4th. So far, easily the best guy in the draft. And if I was looking to take a quarterback, I would definitely just focus my attention on this guy and move on. This is where you would go and add him to your draft board. Boom. On PlayStation, it's triangle. On Xbox, I'm not sure. It's probably the top one. So he's on our draft board. I'll show you the draft board later. And A-, maybe. B+, I don't think so. Let's do it anyway. Yeah, C, not worth it. A-, carrying, that's good. B+ vision, not ideal. But B+ juke, definitely very interesting. Let's see here. B+, no. Fullback, most of these guys you can take in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, even undrafted. So there's never a lot of them. They're normally pretty easy. The most important thing with these guys is their combine grade. But you don't want to get someone who's bad either, so you just go through. You either have utility or blocking. Blocking is pretty self-explanatory. Utility, he might be a good runner, he might be a good pass catcher, but everybody's going to be a decent blocker. So at this point, we scouted the top ones. We're going to circle back, see how everyone looks, and go from there. Slot. Okay, so this guy's going to have really good catch in traffic. He should have good short route running, maybe medium route running, possibly awareness. Let's check it out. The B+ is interesting. I normally wouldn't be too high on it, but this is in the 5th round, so I'm okay with it so far, and medium. And, oh, C+ catching. Not going to even bother. And these B+, I'm digging. But a 7th rounder starting with a B, I like that too. And another B. Look at that. Well, Madden thinks he's a 3rd round talent, and I don't think he's going to be a 3rd round talent, but still, I would definitely take him with a 6th or maybe even a 5th round pick, depending on, once again, how the combine looks. Jumping up here with these B+ guys. Let's see how they look. And okay, I'm definitely most interested in this guy. And B+ across the board in the 4th round, yes please. These two, they're probably not going to be bad players, but for 2nd rounders, not worth it. And you can, well, as you can see, you can get some decent players at the back end of a draft when it comes to offensive linemen, especially interior offensive linemen. The high guys, you better be very certain that you like them. And you can get really good players at the top of the draft, but you can get players who are almost as good significantly lower in the draft. The one plus about picking someone so high is 1st and 2nd rounders are much more likely to have a higher development trait, whereas anyone past the 2nd round is almost guaranteed to have normal development. In fact, so far in Madden 20, I think only twice I've seen anybody in a round past 2nd with a higher development trait than normal, and they were both quick. Or, sorry, not quick. That's old terms. That's star. And I'm very interested in seeing what these 5th rounders down here look like, because they're starting off with B+, especially this block shedding B+. Thank you very much. B, still decent. B- tackle, yeah, we found ourselves a gem at the back end of the draft here. And how about this guy? Another B and another B. These both look like fantastic steals. Now, of course, they're going to be normal development. Are they going to be year 1 starters? I doubt it. But they could be starters in year 2 or 3. or good depth or rotational depth for you, yeah, these guys will definitely be worth taking in the 4th or 5th round. Now moving up here, this is where we have potential to get someone with a better development trait. Pursuit, decent player, but looks pretty similar to the guys below. B+, B+, B-. I'm out on this guy. Yeah, he's got the high block shedding, but just really not that interested in someone in the 2nd round with the B- floor. And here we go. B+ tackle, B+ power moves. I like it. And B pursuit. This guy looks like he's going to be fantastic for the 3rd round. So we are currently down to 2 available points. And remember, we've been getting 175 points every week. So now we need to move over to My Coach and spend XP. And as you can see right here, Expert Scouting Package, 1,400 points. You definitely want to get this because it gets you, well, as you can see on the screen, it gets you more points. I believe this is going to bump us up to 200 points each week, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's basically one more player that you can scout every week. Yeah, as you can see, it did exactly that, 201 points. We got 200 from this week. We tried to roll over 2, but of course, whenever you roll over points, it cuts in half. So, wow, a 7th rounder with an A- tackle? That doesn't even seem right at all. B+ pursuit and B+ hit power. We are drafting this guy. In fact, the middle linebacker class looks really good. You almost don't even want to bother with these guys up here when there's guys down at the bottom who are so good. So we reach the end of the season, at which point you don't get a scout until the Super Bowl. So now we're here at the Super Bowl. Gonna jump back in, do the middle linebackers. And let's see here, B+ again. There again, another good player. That is looking great. I guess I'll hit these guys too. I'm just kind of blindly looking at it and scrolling through. I'm just looking for the highest numbers. You do want to be more focused than what I'm doing here, but I'm just kind of trying to plow through it. So we'll finish scouting with these 2 guys right here, see if they're any good. And no, they dropped off too quick. So you can see numbers like this, they're projecting 3rd rounders. Well, we might get those same numbers down here in the 4th round. And we did, 4th rounder. So we didn't hardly do safeties, so we're gonna do more safeties now. And now we've hit the point in time. This is free agency number 2, I want to say, maybe 3. So I went from Super Bowl to free agency 2 or 3, and this is the point where we have combine grades. So we can get a real idea. You can look over in the far right and just get an overall combine grade, but if you go and click on them, over on the right here, you can see their 40-yard dash time, bench press, all this other stuff. And with every player, it matters differently on what's important. So with the safety, I would say number 1 would probably be speed, and number 2 would be, sorry, not speed, but 40-yard dash. Second would be bench press. This guy, super strong, but not very fast. Not very fast at all. In fact, this shows the ranking. Even if you don't know good 40 times and bench press amounts and all that, you can just do it based off of rankings. So this guy shows he's 15th in 40-yard dash. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's 16 guys. So he is the 2nd slowest safety. So he's basically a linebacker. And not a fast linebacker either. In fact, you look at that right there, it's not encouraging. If you're interested in maybe converting him to a linebacker, you can keep going. But let's look at another guy. See, with this guy, he's ranked 5th in speed and 6th in strength. So his combine numbers are decent. B hit power, just like the other guy, B- pursuit. He's hybrid and C+ awareness. So they both said 3rd rounder. I would much rather this guy because the guy before had 25 reps in the bench press and he was ranked number 2 or 1, something like that. And this guy's ranked 6th, but he only has 16. So there's a significant drop off. So you got to pay attention to that. But the speed is way more important to me. But let's go over to, and this is kind of, most people aren't even going to take a kicker at this point. You're mainly looking for kick power. But yeah, A+, A+. Oh, wow. I mean, look at that. Is there even a question? I think they're always an F for awareness, so it's really the top 2. So this guy right here, well, they're saying he's a 2nd round talent. You're obviously not going to take a kicker in the 2nd round unless you're the Raiders, but we'll do this with punting too. So we'll just check out the next stat. And there we go. I mean, it's kind of a waste to even do the next one because it's probably just going to be F. but it's easily down to these two. And, oh, couple of Ds. Hey, it's good to be wrong sometimes. Both are showing to be first-round talents. No, don't do it. Don't do it. So dropping down here to Jalen Winslow, he has like the third best combine score. He has decent speed, decent strength. He's all pretty balanced. He has B+ carrying and B+ elusiveness and B ball carrier vision. So he might be a decent one to take in the third round. And now we're looking at the fullbacks. Just blindly looking at it, this guy's the number 1 guy, this one's the number 2, but let's look at the deeper into the stats. Number 2 in speed, number 3 in strength, and pretty much number 1 in everything else. This guy's very athletic. He's also 21 years old, and another tip, the younger a player is, the faster he develops within his development trait. So the older he gets, the slower he's gonna develop. B+ lead block, looks decent, B-, B-. He's a utility guy who's got good trucking, good carrying, but good lead blocking, which is probably the most important thing. Very athletic. We'll look over here, and this guy, pretty similar stats, number 1 in strength, number 3 in speed. He's not quite as, even though he's number 1 in the combine grade, barely, I would say he's probably number 2 overall. Now he's a blocking guy with the number 1 trait being trucking, so that's interesting. B+ for the lead block, I like it. That's pretty good. Me personally, I'm very mixed. I like the athleticism of this guy and his higher ceiling. But this guy, high trucking, high lead block, which the other one has too. I'm very split. I'd probably put them both on my scouting report, and if one was gone, I wouldn't be too sad. On to my favorite part, offensive linemen. Here we go. So I was out on this guy, and look at that, 28 reps, 24th in ranked for strength. Not a chance, especially with tackles. I want to see at least 32 reps. I might go 30 or 31 if he looks amazing outside of that, maybe, but certainly not in the first round. Definitely not this guy. No chance I want him. This guy's insanely strong. I was out on him before because he dropped off too quick. We'll look at him, but I mean, B anything, I'm still not sure if I want it. And still B, it's saying he's a second rounder, and he's projected to go in the second round, so maybe. And here's another guy, dropped off a little too quick for me, but decent. And there again, dropped off B-, just not good enough. We've got this guy right here, B+ is across the board. 36 reps, fantastic. He looks like he's easily the best guy in the draft so far. B-, you know, at this point, not good enough. Well, B-, I would normally just be out on him, but it's a 6th rounder, and he has 33 reps. If it's B- across the board, he might be a good 6th round pick. C+, I'll look one more. C-, not a chance. This guy, oh, absolutely not. Not a chance. 21 reps, I am out. I don't care how athletic you are outside of that. 28 reps, no, not doing it. And this guy right here, 31, I'm not happy with that. It's just below my general minimum threshold. He's not super athletic outside of that, but his numbers are decent, and he's a 7th round pick. I might consider him really late in the draft. You know he's not going to be a starter. He might progress, maybe late in his career into a starter after being a backup. But that's kind of best case scenario. And this guy, nope, not going to happen. So guard, you can kind of get away with lower bench reps, especially if he's an agile guy, which he is. His numbers are actually really good outside of that, so I'd consider him. It's not ideal, but now this guy, I like power with offensive linemen. This guy's got, well, number 1 in reps for left guards. He's pretty athletic outside of that to an extent. He is last place in vertical jump. Do we care? How often is an offensive lineman going to jump? Never. His speed is 14th, so he's definitely the back end. So if you're going to be doing a lot of pulling, he's definitely not going to be someone you want in your scheme unless you only pull to one direction and the other guard pulls. But otherwise, he's ranked pretty high in the stats, 6th, 5th, 7th, and he looks like a monster otherwise, 22 years old. I'm interested in him personally. Wait, well, not personally. You know what I mean. 30 reps. He's not really, it shows him being agile, but he's not that fast. I'm not really too interested. And 32 reps, similar numbers to the last guy, but he's younger and he's stronger, so I'm interested. B+, B+, B. I like it. He's a third rounder. He's definitely worth a look later in the draft. 30 reps, not super agile. I think I'm going to pass. 22 reps, absolutely not. Wrapping up over here with our left ends, we have two guys who looked good with the numbers. This guy looks fantastic, at least based off the combine. He has great numbers, although he's a speed rusher and I don't see finesse moves, I don't see block shedding. I love the A- hit power and the A- tackle and the B+ pursuit, but those aren't the most important things. This guy could be amazing, he might not be. I'll have him on the board, but I'm not gonna rank him too high. Now this guy, he's a run stopper, so strength is a lot more important, but he's got decent speed too. Agility is good. Hit power high, which isn't that important like we talked about before. Tackles high, which is great. Pursuit, So I'm not too big on him either. We'll throw him on the board, but we'll see. And looking at our right end here, he's a speed rusher. He's the second fastest guy. He's got okay strength. He's pretty agile. He's got decent athleticism outside of his fantastic speed, but that number one B+ finesse moves, B+ tackle, I'm really happy about that. B floor. 24 years old, doesn't make me happy. I'll throw him on the board. We'll see where he ends up. Here in defensive tackle, we've got ourselves a run stopper who's the second fastest in his class and the fourth strongest. That's very encouraging. A- block shedding, A- tackle, B+ pursuit. He looks pretty good. This guy, on the other hand, not super athletic, but he's strong as hell. He's a run stuffer, B+ pursuit, B+ block shedding, B- tackle. I'm not excited about it, but he's a third rounder. He looks like he's decent for a third rounder, though. Corner, this is where the combine might be most important. I've said that probably 2 other times. Speed, speed, speed. This guy he's great man-to-man. He's probably going to be more of a slot corner kind of guy because he's strong. Well, he's the strongest one. He's got decent speed. There's 52 guys in this class. He's ranked 15th, so he's probably floating around like 89, 90 speed, somewhere in there. Probably 89, I would guess. So the combine report isn't blowing me away, but the other numbers are pretty good. I like him. Let's drop down to the next guy, who's the fastest, but he's not strong at all. At all. And he's 24 years old. Press is not impressive to me either. I don't like him. I love the speed. Absolutely love it. Could he be a kick returner? No, he's not athletic enough. So I would pass on him. I hate to pass on speed. I love speed. I've expressed that a lot of times. But you just can't do it. This guy, another man-to-man, he's probably more of the slot corner kind of guy. Good press, good awareness, good man, but he's actually not really that high in anything, so he might be someone you might take if he falls, but I'm still not that interested. This guy, he's slow, he's weak, the numbers are bad, he's a second rounder, not going to happen. This one, his top skills are better. He's slightly more athletic, not incredibly, but he's not so unathletic. I mean, he's ranked 18th in speed, and there's 52 guys, so he's right there, probably 89 speed. And he's strong enough. He's above average athletically. I would take him, especially being he's graded as a 4th rounder. You could get a pretty good steal out of that guy. And right here, here's a hybrid. I didn't scout him all the way. We have points. He's number 1 across the board. Oh, wow. Wow. And beat a man. This guy looks amazing. He is definitely someone I'm interested in. And here's another guy. He's above average in athleticism. Nothing that's going to blow you away. I love the B+ hit power, the B pursuit, but it drops too fast. And for a second rounder, I wouldn't take him. And here we are looking at our draft board. We could have done this sooner, but I like to do it at the end. You can really do it any time, like as you go, might be easier, less overwhelming. But I've sorted everybody in order of how I would like to take them. And as you can see, there's fourth rounders ahead of third rounders, and here's a fifth rounder ahead of a third rounder. So it's kind of all over the place. Seventh rounders ahead of fourth rounders, and yeah, it really helps you keep organized. And you don't have to stick to your board if you say fill up on a position that you needed, say 2 players, like 2 corners, and you've got 2 corners, and you are happy with those draft picks, and you have the next highest pick on your board is a corner. You can pass on it. You can go to the next one down. It's just good for organization. Now, before we go and actually start the draft, I'm going to show you one last tip on how you can draft superstars, superstar X Factor, guys like that. So back here in the main menu, if you drop down and go over to League and over to News, you can move over to Draft Stories, and this gives you an idea of who to go for. And pretty much this will guarantee that you're either going to have normal development if it says something bad, or some sort of hidden development if they say something good about him. And the hidden developments can really vary. Most of the time you're going to get star. Superstar is less common, and Superstar X Factor is very uncommon, but possible, and this will help you potentially get one of those guys. I see here Jaden Brinkley is worth the #1 pick. Roosevelt Cheney added his name to a brief list of defensive players to win the Heisman Trophy. So we're looking at those guys. Demarius Simmons looked fantastic at his pro day, speedy, shifty. I could read them all, but those are 3. So Cheney, Brinkley, Simmons. Let's go. Let's look at the board and see if I already had him high on the list. I might want to bump him up a little bit. Brinkley's right there. Oh, Simmons. Okay, the running back that I was interested in. So I'm going to... Oh, sorry, that's not my draft board. Now, Brinkley, Cheney. I already had those 2 guys at the top of my board anyway. And then all the way down here is Darius Simmons. I really don't like him. I mean, his combine numbers are not very good at all. But he'll probably have some kind of boosted development trait, which is great and all, but if he's a 68 overall, it kind of doesn't matter. So I'll kind of throw him on the board. Maybe if he's available, I'll take him just to show you that he's going to have hidden development. But I'm counting on taking one of the top 2 guys. Looks like both of these guys will have hidden development, and they were already the top 2 guys on my board anyway, so that really works out. And let's get to the draft. Let's see if any of our guys come off the board. We have the #2 pick, and the Redskins take Javonte Lawson, who was on our board. He was like 5th down, 6th, something like that. He goes at a 75 overall. I am not unhappy about that. And we're going to take Jaden Brinkley with the first pick. Let's see how he is. And 77 overall, hidden development. It says I reached, I mean, he's ranked 3rd in true talent. We took him at 2, so bite me. We took him 1 spot lower. Hidden development, 21 years old, 77 overall. It's a great pick. And I chose the Dolphins for a reason. They have a lot of picks, so I can show you a lot more. We can jump over, hope that he's still there, but holy crap, he's still there. We're getting lucky. Roosevelt Cheney, what do you look like? 79 overall, 1st in true talent. We took him at 14. He's 21 years old, hidden development, fantastic pick. See, your draft board is amazing when you use it. And I think now we're dropping to the 2nd round. I think the 2nd pick. Quite a bit of people went off our board, as to be expected. We scattered a lot at the top end of the draft, not as much towards the bottom. When you can focus more on positions, you can do a more thorough draft in position groups, but that's not what we did here. But we're going to take Ellis Beekman. He looks like a 3rd rounder. I don't want to miss out on him. He's easily the best quarterback in the draft, and he's a 70 overall, and sadly, I mean, it's a 70 overall. I'm disappointed in it, but he has hidden development, 21 years old, and it's still not a bad pick. I mean, Ellis is ranked 33rd in true talent. We took him at 34. I would have preferred to have taken him later, but there's no other quarterbacks in the draft that were worth a darn, and I wanted to show you a good quarterback, so we kind of had to take him there. And with the 10th pick in the 2nd round, here's this running back I was looking at. Very, very interesting. It's more curiosity just because he's an elusive back with a high stiff arm and high strength. Let's see what he has. And 70 overall, I'm not thrilled about it, but it's not bad. Hidden development once again. It's normally not this easy, but we're doing a pretty good job drafting well. Scott is ranked 39 in true talent. We took him at 42. decent pick. It's not fantastic. Probably could have done better, but it's still good. And with the second pick in the third round, we definitely want to take this guy. This guy looks amazing, especially for what was projected to be a late third rounder. And it's saying he's a late first round talent. Let's go for it. 71, normal development, but we took him in the third round. He's ranked 27th in true talent. We took him at 66. It was disappointing that our last pick didn't have hidden development, but like I said earlier, you're not going to get a lot of players outside of the first 2 rounds, especially outside of the first round, where you're going to get hidden development. So normal development, that's to be expected. 71 overall, 21 years old. He's either going to be a good rotational guy in his first year, or he might be your number 2 tackle. And if you run a 4-3, that's a starter. There you go. Going for another great looking, wow, we had some good looking guys, and they're all being taken already because the computer scouts too. And we're going to take this guy. Looks amazing for a 5th rounder. Let's go. 69 overall. 23 years old, normal development, 42 in true talent. We took him at 109. We're dropping way lower down in the draft rounds, and yet the player skill isn't dropping that much. If you do your homework, you can get quality players late in the draft. Let's go with this middle linebacker. He looks pretty good for a 7th rounder. We're taking him at 6, but he was originally projected to go 7. And he's not going to be fantastic, but 67 overall, 85th in true talent. We took him at 162. Another good rotational guy, bench guy, maybe someone who will develop really well for you. And as you go through your seasons, there is potential to up, through various different ways, the development trait of your players. So if he starts right away, he might get Rookie of the Year, and suddenly he has star development. And with the 29th pick in the 6th round, we are going to take this punter. Yay! Although he looks really good, let's check it out. And 74 overall, normal development. He is ranked 12th in true talent. We took him at 189. I mean, who's going to balk at a 74 overall punter late in the 6th round? We did all right. I mean, that's really what you want to be taking these 5th, 6th, 7th round picks with, is fullbacks, kickers, and punters. Because otherwise, you're not going to get that good of players. You might get one, but you really have to find that diamond in the rough. Otherwise, this is your best route to get a quality player that late in the draft. Like, here's a fullback. Going to take him with the 2nd pick in the 7th round. Let's see how he looks. 68 overall. I'm disappointed with that. I was really hoping for 70, which it's only 2 lower, but it still says good pick. He's ranked 52nd in true talent. We took him at 194. He is 21 years old, which was a factor in this, so he's going to develop quickly, or at least for a fullback. And with the 20th pick, our kicker's still here, so let's take him. And 69 overall, not thrilled about that one either, but it's not bad. 23 years old, he is ranked 48th in true talent. We took him at 212. There again, not a bad pick. And luckily with our last pick, it's the 28th pick in the 7th round. We have another fullback. You normally wouldn't take 2 fullbacks, but hey, why the heck not? And 67 overall. You're almost at the very, very end of the draft. So you're getting a 67 overall. He's 71st in true talent. We took him at 220. It's a great value pick. And if you did draft 2 guys, you could ride with both, maybe figure out some way to work with it, or trade one of them. You could probably trade one to a team that is interested in a fullback and get a 5th, 4th, maybe even a 3rd round pick for him, and really turn that value around. Yeah, you're getting a little bit of cap hit in the end, but not much because you're not paying them that much. So it's definitely a great value pick for you. And here we are with our draft summary. 2nd overall pick, our 1st pick. He is 77 overall, hidden development. The 14th pick in the 1st round we took for a 79 overall with hidden development. Quarterback we took in the 2nd round, 70 overall, hidden development. Running back, 70 overall, hidden development. Defensive tackle, 71 overall. This is in the 3rd round, normal development. Everyone from here on out was normal development, but 69 in the 4th, 67 in the 6th, a punter at 74 in the 6th, a fullback at 68 in the 7th, 69 kicker in the 7th, and a 67 fullback in the 7th. It was a very productive draft. If this was the real Dolphins, they should be ecstatic to get a draft like this, because you would have your quarterback of the future, if not your starter right away. I would start him personally, especially if you're the Dolphins. Your replacement for Mika Fitzpatrick, a stud defensive end who you don't have any, a running back, which you're kind of in that spot anyway, so it's somebody who would instantly be in the rotation and probably eventually take over as a starter. They wouldn't take 2 defensive tackles like this. They already have 2 pretty good ones, but hey, whatever. Here's 2 more good ones for you. Middle linebacker, he'd be a great secondary middle linebacker, maybe eventually take over as your starter. New starting punter. Oh, actually, they do have one of the better punters in the league, so they wouldn't take it. New starting fullback, he'd be good. New kicker, who I think might already be better than the one they already have, and he's going to progress. Great draft, and that's it. I mean, that is your entire tutorial. So, in summary, so you want to upgrade your coach so you get more scouting points. You don't want to waste all of your points on players who don't look like they're going to be any good. If they start dropping off, stop. You don't want to scout players who you already have studs at unless you're already done. Go for positions of need first. If you get through all of those, then start looking for some value. Hey, what about this guy, that guy? Later on, you're going to be looking at a scouting combine, which if you have extra points, that's a great time to go. This guy's super athletic. Let's see if he has skills to match. And finally, use your draft board. It is a great way to organize. It's not necessary, but it really helps. And with no real transition out of this, I really hope you liked this video. If you liked it and want to see more, jump on down, like, and subscribe. I'm going to have more detailed ways to draft linemen, quarterbacks, everybody. I'm going to do position group by position group later on. So if you want to get a detail, you're really struggling with one certain position, check that out. Also going to have more experiments later on. We have our Bulldogs franchise series. And coming back will be, can the 99 Club save? Insert team here. At recording right now, the Dolphins are leading the Steelers 14-3 on Monday Night Football. So I'm kind of rooting for the Dolphins, even though that you can do a lot of experiments with, oh, hey, this is the worst team in NFL history. But whatever, it's still, you root for the underdog. But with all that being said, this is Extinguisher 10 signing out. Have a great rest of your day.